Hello, welcome back to Questioning Fashion. If you haven't watched the first few and you're confused by what's going on, we're trying to make a podcast but clearly not succeeding because we're on YouTube instead of a podcast app. We'll get there, but feel free to, put the phone on the kitchen bench while you do your washing up or whatever. You don't have to look at us the whole time.
Yeah.
We will be talking for a while, and today we will be talking about self-imposed shopping bans and wardrobe challenges, any kind of self-imposed rules around what you buy and what you wear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's about as concise as I can make that.
And we put it out to you guys. So.
Yes. So our first question was to our listeners, or at least to my Instagram followers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they all listen. The first thing we asked was, have you ever done a shopping ban? And how did it go? Should we go through some of the answers?
So we had Laurel. She thinks she's failed quite a few times. So it's interesting she uses the word fail because I think that's half the problem, isn't it? It's a bit of a, you give yourself a challenge and then you don't succeed. And so she finds that she always ends up, when she puts herself, has her own shopping ban, she ends up just buying activewear, underwear.
Yeah, basics.
Basics.
She said running shoes.
Running shoes, things that really do need replacing in her mind.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I think that's a very harsh shopping ban if you're not allowing that. So I was asking if do you think you failed because you've been too strict or because you tried to go too long?
Yeah.
And she said it probably was that she tried to go too long and maybe, would be better to go shorter periods.
Or a longer period, but with a criteria, more of a strict kind of exceptions to the rules, not just the rules, but also exceptions to the rules.
So then we had Emma, who is currently on a shopping ban, so that was very timely. She set herself a month, but intending to continue the habit, and she started because she feels like she buys too much, and she's worried she'll become a hoarder because she has massive amounts of clothes.
Yeah, and we feel that.
I feel that. I will get to that later, but as someone with massive amounts of clothes, I understand the concern. Yeah.
And then we've got Fiona, who has tried it, but she's bad at it.
We're all talking very negaely about ourselves
here. The fact that she's tried shopping bans in the first place is more, she's done better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
But she's now developed a habit of thinking whether it's worth breaking the ban. So even if you're if you're bad at your shopping ban, just having that in the back of your head is probably helpful, because then it's kind of like
it makes you consider things more.
Is it worth breaking your ban for this?
Yeah, maybe instead of a ban you think of it as a streak, like, oh, I haven't bought anything for like 6 weeks, and then like, is this worth breaking my streak for? Maybe it is. Or
right.
Beck, she said she's banned buying formal wear forever, thanks to rental companies such as mine, which I would highly recommend.
Definitely.
I think if you don't use it at least once a month, you don't need to own it. That's something I've always had in my head, and that goes for not just clothes as well. It's tricky with it's tricky with seasonal stuff. Like, obviously I don't wear a winter coat once a month, but in winter I do, so it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's just something. Maybe it's like if you don't use it a certain amount of times per year.
I mean, I've always had this idea of having a rental, like, or encouraging you to expand to seasonal stuff, so that so that it's longer. So you rent a big coat for three months.
Yeah, and I have looked into. I know Glam Corner's the one in Australia, but there's Rent the Runway as well, where they're starting subscription services of regular everyday clothes. And I like the idea of getting sent a box of clothes to play with for a month and sending them back. I just always look into the cost and go, I'd rather spend it at the op shop.
And also, do they choose your clothes?
No, you can choose, but it's from their range, which
is not much vintage or anything like that.
It's not vintage.
But if there was a vintage
store,
vintage
service,
if you or the corner shop were to do that, hint, I would totally love that. I mean,
if a certain chicken shop went out of business and I could buy their space. Helen,
so Helen did a shopping ban in 2019. I think a lot of people did a shopping ban that year.
Yes, I was thinking that too, because that was when I was in the old shop. It was the year that ended with the horrific bushfires, and I do remember that year a lot of people going on shopping bans. Was it when that Craig Rucastle show came out, the War on Waste?
Oh, it could have been that.
I reckon it was that.
Was it that?
Yeah.
How interesting.
Or maybe it was also Marie Kondo.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a...
She was bigger from an earlier
before
year.
that, yeah.
Well, it was a bit of a zeitgeisty thing and for Australia.
Yeah, no, you know what I think? It's war on waste everything, so not even just clothes, is we were moving towards a really good place with sustainability and waste, and then the pandemic happened, and a lot of things had to return to being disposable for health reasons. Our lives went to shit, and we just did what we could to deal with it. And so that's
feel like we were just getting
there. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that there was a trend for it in 2019. It was just we were increasing, and then we just had to stop.
That is it.
We had a lot of momentum going, because that's how I felt with the business.
Yeah,
had all this momentum going, and then
party stopped.
Yeah.
Although she did that in 2019, she only bought one pack.
I thought that was amazing. A whole year she bought one. She said that her rule was she was allowed to replace anything that broke, and even with that rule, she only bought one pack of tights, which I think is amazing.
That is incredible.
You can survive on what you already have.
So Helen, well done.
And now she's got a rule where she buys 2 things for winter and 2 things for summer, and I love that because it's like it makes you choose more wisely. It's like a clothing allowance.
Yeah,
you can look forward to what you're going to buy.
And if it's not a matter of spending an amount, but a matter of buying 2 things. I would really be searching for expensive things. I would be like, well, and if it's only 2 things. True. But I mean, in a good way.
Especially because if you think, what would I usually spend during a whole winter?
Exactly.
And now I get to spend that on just 2 things.
Exactly.
Maybe we should do that. And we had Ari, who said she's tried but failed, and she said the ban was what was her undoing, because as soon as she restricts something, she wants it more.
It's psychological.
Yeah, that's a personality thing. Sometimes people just don't react well to rules. I don't know.
No, I think it's the same
like
when
you know.
Yeah, it's if you say you're not going to eat sugar, you're just going to crave it all the time. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So, same question to you. Have you ever done a shopping ban?
I've never done one of those kind of Instagram kind of, telling everyone I'm doing it.
Yeah.
There's 2 occasions. The first occasion where I made a mindful kind of, I pulled back was when I was in London for 2 years, was working in magazines, and we worked just up the road from Primark. You guys heard of Primark?
And
really cheap clothes, and I just got
it's a bit like just a cheap H&M, isn't it?
Yeah. And and they were very clever with the design. Like all the fashion was spot on, and that was at my the height of my fast fashion consumption. It's really bad. I would go at lunchtime. I would go and buy myself. And I love vintage, and I had lots of vintage as well, but I remember buying myself this yellow shift dress that was so 60s. It was just totally 60s.
I have a polka dot.
It was like £12.
I remember when Mum and I went to the UK, we were just like, oh my God, this shop.
It's so exciting.
It's so exciting because you think, oh my God, they have everything I want, but it's because they're so of the moment. Yeah. It's just like, I was literally just yesterday thinking I need more polka dots in my life, and here's this polka dot dress.
Anyway, so after coming back to Australia and then getting a job at Vogue pretty soon after that, and noticing everybody wearing really good quality, generally black clothes, I got very self-conscious. I started wearing more of my vintage and just not wearing my fast fashion pieces, and I realized that I don't know if they looked bad, but I felt as if I was self-conscious about the bad quality.
And it's a more interesting answer in an environment like, I'm thinking of fashion school, where everyone is interested in each other's outfits. So it's like, oh, I love your skirt, where's it from? It's kind of embarrassing to be like, oh, Primark.
It is.
Whereas, so it's nice that's why I often wear like vintage and handmade things if I'm going somewhere where I know we'll probably be talking about our clothes.
You want to, exactly.
Sorry, anyway.
So what I did, I decided to make like the Vogue girls I was kind of working alongside, and just imagine that I was shopping at Net-a-Porter, which was at the time it was like this was 2007, so at the time it was still it was really big, and I couldn't afford any of that stuff. I was on a journalist wage, and it
was so expensive.
It's so expensive. So that was my theory, was that I would get all the joy, because part of the joy I get from shopping is more the idea of styling, obviously, of styling and coming up with looks. It's not about the rush of the buying. It's actually never really been about that. It's almost like feeling like a creative, like a designer, and how you would create a look out of the clothes.
It's like buying new art materials. Like, I get a new colour for my paint box, and now I get to
and channeling vibes as well. It's like, I would feel so Katharine Hepburn in those in that look created by that and that. So I started doing that. I basically used the wish list, and then I used to print them off. And I had to have all these thumbnails of pieces. And then what I started doing, then I took up a course, and I was still like really struggling to kind of feel like I looked Vogue enough every day.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Yeah, so I took up a sewing course. I worked out what my style was, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of evolved as you, with age and with experience. But it was very much shift, like minis, like A-line minis. And I realised that I really liked embellishment and expensive fabrics and kind of velvets and like rich fabrics. There was a Chloe collection where it was all basically that, mini shifts with embellishments.
Nice.
And it was that kind of thing. So I got some patterns. And I took them to the sewing class, and I started. So I made 2 dresses like that, and I still wear them.
Wow.
And I think that was the period where I started really transitioning away from buying anything and not really knowing what I was buying to actually being more curated in my decisions.
Yeah, you probably, like, they've lasted so long because they were much more thought out.
Exactly.
Really. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was mine, and the other one was just when I went overseas at 19, and I basically had, by then I'd totally come around to this whole trying to be sustainable thing and trying to shop secondhand, and I thought, gosh, it's going to be really hard to not shop new on holiday, right? Because that's when you go. But the great thing about doing that was that I was always so keen to find a secondhand place in every city we went to. So it was
so
really
you did a shopping ban while on holidays?
Yeah. I only bought one swimming costume the whole time, and it was from a small Thai label, and I actually messaged them on Instagram first and asked them about their sustainability. So
see, that's the opposite to my answer.
Okay.
So the only
what
times I have done shopping bans is been always before a holiday, because I know I'm going to shop on holidays. So it's a money saving thing, but also like I don't know, I think maybe that's the only way that I can successfully do a shopping ban, is if I have the promise of a shiny shopping trip at the end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's, so it's like, because I do plan holidays quite far in advance, so it's like if I'm going somewhere, then, say we went to France earlier this year, like, as soon as the trip's booked, it's kind of like, okay, no shopping until I get there. And then anytime I do want things, I make a note of it, so I've got a bit of a wish list going. And then once I get there, it's like, I'm not just shopping like crazy person on holiday, because holiday shopping's a whole other thing that, like, I know a lot of regretful purchases happen on holidays, because you're like, when I'm a chic person in Paris, I'll wear this all the time, but then you remember you're a normal person in Sydney, or like tropical holidays are the big one. And people buy like the most ridiculous things. But so I try not to do that. I have a list of things that it's just like, we went to France in April, so autumn here, spring there. And because it was coming into autumn, I was seeing a lot of boots starting to come, and I desperately wanted boots, and was just like, no, it'll be more fun to buy them in France. But I didn't end up buying them because it was hot, way hotter than we thought, and I was like, they'll be heavy in my bag. So that was one thing I didn't get on my wish list.
I like the wish list thing, but don't you think that going to Paris with a mindset to buy, say, those boots or whatever else is on your wish list, that you're almost saying to yourself, if I don't find these, I failed, so you kind of end up buying a pair of boots that you don't really like. I know you didn't do that, but isn't that more?
No, it's not like, the wish list isn't concrete, it's just things to look out for. It's more like, have you heard of the thing with kids where, like, if they want something, you say, like, put it on your Christmas list, or like,
I do it all
let's
the time.
take a photo for your birthday. It's just that one action of like, yes, I've heard that you want it, I've acknowledged that you want this thing, but we're not buying it today. And that's what it is. It's me parenting myself and going, put it on your wish list.
No, I think that's really
smart. You get
to
have it later, just not today.
That's such a smart, it's like a realistic psychological kind of,
and then, so it's whether you're going on a holiday or not. Say, like, you've set to the end of your shopping ban, then it's like you go through your wish list, and maybe by the time it comes around, you don't want that thing anymore. And that's a good way to decide what you do and don't want. But that's smart. Pretty much the only time I've done shopping bans.
I think putting things off till a certain time is always a good idea. So you talked about having a wish list and having a kind of deadline. Would that be your way to set up success, or have you got any other?
Yeah, so I think if we're looking at like how to do a successful shopping ban, you do need to sort of look at your own personality and understand what you know, like I said, I think the only way I can do a ban is if I think that at the end I get to have the thing that I've been banning the whole time. There's never, if it's kind of this end goal to never buy anything again,
it's desolate.
I'm definitely going to fail at that. So I think set yourself a time limit, go for shorter times at first. You know, if it's something, and the wish list is definitely, I think, something that works for me at least. I think the other thing we saw that most of the listeners that replied had failed at was like random things that they sort of probably hadn't budgeted for or considered at the beginning. So I think it's worth thinking about all the things you usually buy and going, okay, what counts for this shopping ban and what doesn't count? And
agreed.
Yeah.
And so would you also set yourself up for the ban by actually making sure you have all of those things, like looking at your sneakers and saying, okay, how many more months have I got out of it?
I don't think so, because then I think it's the equivalent of the toilet paper panic buying of the pandemic. You know, you're thinking like, oh, I'm never going to shop again, so I need to buy all the things like people do before they have a baby.
Yes.
The shop's closed after they have a baby.
Yes.
Well, don't do that. But just allow it to go, okay, at some point in the next year, I'm probably going to need new sneakers. So that's one thing I'm allowed on them. You know, just be a bit flexible with it.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you know, we saw people mentioning gifts and things. I think gifts doesn't count towards a shopping ban. I would think of a shopping ban as like things for yourself, and maybe say, okay, all of the gifts are going to be secondhand this year, but still.
The gift thing is a whole different problem.
So the second question that we asked, less around shopping bans and more about like a wardrobe challenge, which is it's less about what you buy but about what you wear each day.
Yeah.
So this was super common back in the days of blogging. Like all the fashion bloggers used to do random challenges for like a month, where Frocktober, where I'm going to wear a frock every day, like, or like Project 333. Let's get straight to the answers because this is answering it for me. So Brianna said she did Project 333 10 years ago, which was around the time that all this was popular. And that's where you choose 33 items as a capsule wardrobe and you wear only those things for 3 months. And she said she loved it. And so that's the kind of thing we're talking about. I found that not many people actually have done them. I love them. So that's why I love hearing about people. I love watching people do them on like Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And
I think it's a certain type of person who would want to partake in something like that. And who'd be good at it. I think for some people it really helps to have a very definite, just going back to the whole ban, what we're talking about with the ban, how to make a success of it, to have a successful challenge. It is nice for some people to use numbers and very specific elements. It's not something that would get me excited for sure. Yeah,
but it's funny because you do get excited about making outfits.
I love,
So I was surprised you've never done anything like. Because I think a lot of the ones that people were talking about, so we had Beck said she does basically a capsule wardrobe for work where everything's black, navy and white and sort of all mixes together. Brianna said she did the Project 333 and it's taught her to like live with less and just wear your favorite things all the time. Like it was sort of still on the sustainability, we should buy less things track, which is, for me, these challenges are more about just having fun with your wardrobe and getting out of a style rut. So Ari said she actually runs the Optober challenge on Instagram, which is 5 days of prompts around op shop outfits. So for this year, it's just finished. She did 100% thrifted outfit, then a whole outfit for under $20.
So what would there be? One first day?
First day you wear 100% thrifted. Second day, whole outfit for under $20. Third day was a look that's inspired. I think they're all op shop looks, like a look inspired by a designer.
She's all about op shopping
or friends. The fourth day was color blocking, and the fifth one was a Pinterest inspired outfit, which
interesting.
You do. Anyway, the whole reason we've brought up this topic is because I want to talk about myself. So enough about them.
So Ali, what is this wardrobe challenge you're on?
Okay, I randomly set myself a little challenge because, like Emma, who responded to the first question, I have massive amounts of clothes. And I do sort of think, oh, is this too many clothes? I swap out seasonal stuff. I try to keep it all under control, but I am aware it's a lot of clothes. But I think I'm just also aware that I like to have a lot of clothes because I like to dress creatively. I love to op shop. I op shop for work because I'm always looking for vintage for work, and I just find things that I like and I just really enjoy that. So I was kind of like wanting to set myself a bit of a challenge, maybe to just prove to myself that I am allowed to have this many clothes.
Interesting.
I'm counting things that you have to wash, basically, like tops and dresses. I have to wear everything once before I repeat it.
That would get a lot of people because they have their go-tos and their faves.
Well, I do too. And I definitely get into that seasonally where I'm like, say with this top, like I have a lot of white summery tops that are very easy to put with a colourful bottom or even just jeans. And I can easily fall into that rut. I don't mind having like a consistent look. It was more just like, there's all these clothes in the wardrobe maybe not getting worn. Sometimes you get to the end of summer and you're like, I never wore that. And it's kind of wanting to just wear them again. And so my thinking is I have to choose something each day that I haven't worn yet in the challenge and treat it as though it's new. Because I don't know about you, but when I buy something new, I will wear it out of the shop. Yeah, I will wear it out of the shop if possible.
Oh yeah.
And also the first day you wear it is like the best day you wear it, because
So
you're
true.
like so excited to, and you put so much effort into like, what jewelry am I going to wear with it? And you put a whole look together. And I love that feeling. So I think that's the feeling I'm chasing with this challenge. Is like, grab something that you just haven't worn for ages and treat it like you've just got it. Oh my God, how am I going to wear it?
How do you do that? Like, is that just like acting inside?
Sure. Yes.
Is it a Stanislavski method?
Sure.
Is it like...
Yeah. I guess it's just thinking about, if I just got this, what would be the first thing I'd wear it with?
So it's a mindful process.
Yeah, and there's not
It's
many
a being
rules.
in the present.
And people have been like, oh, so are you going to like throw out the last 10 things that you know that are left? I'm like, I don't think it's about getting rid of
You're
things.
not going to get rid of anything. Oh no.
It's not even about a shopping ban, because I have bought like several things since I started.
So what is challenging about it exactly, Ali?
The challenge is to make myself wear everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I will get to some things that I'm just like, I don't want to wear this.
Yeah.
And that will be like,
And you
okay,
haven't done that.
really...
You haven't got
No,
to that
so
yet.
far it's all good.
How long have you been doing this for?
Okay, so I've got my stats here ready. I have a wardrobe app called Stylebook.
Oh, do you?
I love Stylebook.
Yeah, I used to have that.
Years. So I'm 42 days in, so that's 6 weeks, yeah.
Wow.
Right? And this is like, I don't know how many clothes people have, but when you write it down, geez, it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, wow.
I started out with 82 tops.
Jesus.
And 16 like dresses or jumpsuits. So in total, 98 things to go through in this challenge.
Blimey.
So far I've worn, and I have bought some things since then. They were all from op shops, and there were 2 dresses and a top that I bought from a friend who was opening a new shop. Like, obviously you're going to...
Oh, is that
Yeah, Ruby Raisin.
Ruby Raisin?
Yeah. So that's not even... And the shopping ban's not part of it. I just never really buy new clothes, except if it's from like a small designer who I know who is opening a new shop. Like, of course I'm going to buy some stuff. So I have... And that's been the biggest challenge, just to jump straight into that, is that right sort of at the start of this challenge, I bought 2 new dresses and a top, and I wore them straight away, because that's what I do.
Sorry, this is Ruby Raisin?
Yeah. I wore them straight away, but now I don't get to wear them again for like 6 more weeks
that's
because of my
challenging.
stupid challenge. And like, I like to wear new things.
And she'll be very offended by the
That's
fact that-
I am worried that she's sort of be like, oh, I haven't seen Ellie post that dress in a while.
Yeah.
Like, I've given myself this weird exercise that's not even, this is the first time I've mentioned it. I haven't done any like Instagram posts or TikTok videos. I just thought, I'm just doing it for myself.
Yeah.
Going through everything. It's almost like, you know, when you do a wardrobe cull and you're like, okay, maybe I'll make myself try everything on.
Yeah.
It's like a very long version of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like it. It's kind of making me wonder if I could possibly do that. Yeah.
But the most daunting thing was looking at how many things I had and realizing how long it would take me to get through them. Like, it's basically the whole summer to get through the summer things.
Yeah.
And so I've worn 52 of the...
52 of the 98?
Well, I started with 98, but there's now 105 because I keep adding things.
Well, this is going to go on a long time.
Exactly.
Post-apocalypse.
So I'm pretty much halfway through in 6 weeks. I don't even really know what I'm trying to achieve with it. I think I'm having fun. Like,
it's making you appreciate what you have.
Yeah, but it's also making me put in a little bit of effort instead of, because there are definitely days where I would usually just grab something that is a standby that I know will look good and is easy. But I try to have,
that's true.
I try to make everything in my wardrobe easy to wear. I don't, you know.
But aren't you the bottoms aren't included, so aren't you just going that top with jeans, that top with jeans, that top with jeans every day?
Well, no, because like when you get something, because I'm acting as though they're new.
Yeah.
And when you get a new exciting top, you're not going to wear it with jeans straight away. You're going to
find...
think of the most exciting thing you could possibly wear with it.
We would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. I mean, you know what just occurred to me? The fact that you didn't ban shopping as part of this challenge has...
I didn't really think that through.
No, but I think that that's good. It goes back to the girl who said if she imposes a ban, she's more likely to want it. Who's that?
Ari. Yeah.
Ari, yeah. So that's why she's found. You haven't imposed a ban. You're probably more likely to succeed.
Yeah.
In slowing down on your shopping, because you're not
like it's a naturally slowing down.
It's just happening
because it's like when I do buy things, like Fiona said, is it worth it? it's kind of like, you know, I'm thinking of this one ruby raisin dress that I just really want to wear again.
You know, that was...
And it's like, if I buy this top, that gives me a day further away than
That's true.
Is it worth it? Yes.
I know, and
So,
another, yes, I just remembered something that I often say to clients, which is when you're buying clothes, and this includes secondhand clothes, it's like you're not just thinking about the money you're spending. It's not just about that. It's about the room it's taking up in your wardrobe
and your life.
In your life,
Yeah.
and in your mind, and in your vision.
Yeah.
So because when you open your wardrobe and you can't see anything,
Yeah.
It makes it really hard to get dressed in the morning.
I can't remember if we talked about it here. I've definitely talked about it with someone lately. Lots of people have said, oh, it's made me more conscious when I'm shopping. And like, we don't really go into what that actually means for people.
Yeah.
A lot of people say like, oh, when you're shopping, think of what you could wear it with. Would you actually wear it? All of that kind of questions, which are valid questions. But I will convince myself that I can wear anything because I do wear lots of varied things.
Yeah.
So just those questions alone are not going to work because I will end up like even this top, which is like not my style, but I would be like, oh no, maybe I would wear it with this, and I wear it, you know, I would convince myself that I would wear it.
Yeah.
But the better thinking for me is like, where is it going? Like, picture it hanging in your already crowded wardrobe. The sleeves are going to get squished when it's hanging in the wardrobe, so I'm going to have to iron it every time I want to wear it, and the pleats look like a bitch to iron. The better question for me to ask myself is like, where is it going? How am I going to look after it? Can I be bothered?
The work involved.
Yeah,
the
work
stuff.
involved. Yeah, and
not the fun
with
stuff
my
of styling
new
it.
challenge, which I have no idea whether once I get to the end, am I going to just start the cycle again? Am I going to forget it forever? I don't know. But with this new challenge, it's making me think with new stuff like, okay, this is yet another thing to add into the rotation, which makes the rotation last even longer.
No, I like that.
Yeah. I think that's the thing to think about, is not whether you'll wear it, but like, do I have space for this in my life?
The stuff in between wearing it.
Yeah. And like, I like wearing black, and I buy a lot of black things, and then I get home and remember I have a light coloured dog, which I never remember in the shop. And it's just like, black clothes are actually quite hard for me to look after because it always involves a lot of like lint rollering and, you know, it's
Oh, little fluffy.
little teddy. So you were saying maybe you were thinking you might try it. Like, I feel like I'm talking you around to the idea of wardrobe challenges. Are you inspired to do a wardrobe challenge? Or what are some fun challenges you think people could do?
Oh, fun challenges.
Either to like get yourself out of the shopping habit, or get yourself out of a style rut, or just
which can be the same thing.
Yeah.
I think for me it would be to get out of a style rut, and I think with the clients that I've worked with, that is almost always the problem. They're in a style rut, so they've got all these clothes that they just don't wear.
Yeah.
And they just have their go-to, and the go-to tends to be kind of, it makes them feel boring and not uninspired. Maybe a month of, if you love to wear black, a month of no black.
Yeah.
So it always ends up being colour for me, but a colour related one where you every day you would put two colours together.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be two colours that you wouldn't normally put together. Just two colours, as in not shades.
Yeah. Yeah. So not green and white, like green and yellow.
Yeah.
It's actually just reminded me there was another wardrobe challenge. Chloe, who works for me in the shop.
Oh yeah.
Chloe and I did a lockdown wardrobe challenge last year.
Yes.
Where her sister came up with a list of prompts, and it was basically dress ups. It was really like put together an outfit for a photo and then change into shorts and t-shirt for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
but like in
lockdown,
lockdown, that's just what we needed.
Yeah.
And
that's a cool challenge. I'm always
fun.
up for that.
Yeah, it's dress ups. And maybe something like that. The key is to just keep it short. Like Ari's October challenge, like just a week. Maybe it is like, this week I'm going to, you know, pick a different movie star. Like,
especially
pick a rock star every day and dress like them.
And if you're already into dress ups and into clothes, which I guess most of our listeners or followers would be, then it's just a excuse to have fun. But if you're not really, and you're just kind of starting to get around the concept, like some of my clients, then it's actually a really good, even just a week styling challenge that isn't about banning or anything. It's just about pushing you out of your comfort zone. I think is a really helpful exercise to just experiment and get out of your comfort zone. And how does that make you feel?
I can't believe we haven't used that phrase yet, but that is it. It's getting out of your comfort zone.
All of this is, isn't it?
Have you noticed, like, say, you probably haven't because you dress like you're going to a costume party every day. Say, you know.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
You know, like, would you go to a pub in a costume? No. But if you're on a pub crawl that's like 70s themed and we're all in our 70s costumes, you have a great night out.
I
And then
know.
even afterwards, you might go to Macca's by yourself on the way home and feel totally fine because it's like, I have an excuse for what I'm wearing.
Yes.
And it's like, just having a reason to put on something different is all you need sometimes. Like,
exactly.
we were going to go to a party last Friday. You went, I didn't.
Yeah.
But I chose an outfit. I was excited to wear this outfit and then didn't end up going to the party. And I was like, oh. And so on the Monday when it was a little bit cool, I was like, oh, do I need a little jacket? Normally I would go like a denim shirt or something when you know it's not actually going to be cold, it's just a bit windy.
Yeah.
But I had this silk beaded gold jacket that I was going to wear on Friday, and I thought, I'm just going to put that on with my navy jumpsuit and my sneakers. And it was nice. And like, I think I would have otherwise felt a bit weird. Like, why am I wearing this very fancy jacket on a Monday running errands?
Interesting.
I was like, oh, maybe there's something in that like, oh, choose it as though you're choosing for a party, but then just wear it for the day.
There's more than something in that.
Yeah.
That to me, that is my philosophy in dressing.
Yeah.
And one that I try and encourage others to have.
It's like the wardrobe version of use your good china. Like,
yes.
We have these fancy 60s glasses with like gold and teal designs on them that my friend gave us as a wedding present. And we've used them for like cocktails for ourselves sometimes, but having a small child, we've just never really used them.
Yeah.
And now I just sort of decided, you know what, she's big enough now, like we use them every night as our water glasses.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
they might break at some point, but like, I don't know, I'm loving using them. I'm like, no, use the nice things.
Oh, I'm so
wear the
into
silk
that.
jacket.
I'm so into that. Yeah, definitely. I think that's on that note. I guess the ultimate challenge would be a challenge that is fun rather than necessarily comes from a place of,
trying to better yourself and the planet.
And
this
being
is where the shopping bans
virtuous.
are going wrong.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit of a moral thing, and like I've failed at being a good person and trying to be a better person. Like, just do it for fun.
Do it for fun. And my ultimate fun challenge, and we might have a little go at this afternoon, maybe record some content. And my favourite one like that was the Gucci Gal style challenge.
You love Gucci.
Hashtag Gucci Gal style challenge. I love Gucci. This is just post 2015. This is not Gucci forever. Tom Ford Gucci was great, but not as much my vibe. This is Alessandra Michele Gucci, which is basically really possible to achieve through nothing but vintage.
Very vintage
and that is what I love about it. Yes, I do own a few Gucci things, most of them are secondhand, but it's not about owning Gucci or the Gucci logo at all. It's about that vibe. He's all about that 70s. He mixes lots of different vibes together, and it's kind of becomes its own. It just becomes the Gucci vibe. Harry Styles is one of the Gucci kind of ambassadors, I guess, and Florence.
And Elton John, right? I love
Elton
John.
Yeah, they did a whole collection based on Elton John. And Florence of the Machine, I've forgotten her surname, Welsh. For me, because I already am a bit too much, and for that I was allowed to go even more much. And it was so fun to just go really maximalist. So maybe we can do something similar this afternoon. I mean, there's nothing more fun for someone who likes clothes than just to have a theme.
Thinking like, I think I used to do that as a teenager because it's not embarrassing now, it's just very not what I'm like now, but I was really into Chanel, like so into Chanel. And that Karl Lagerfeld era of like where he just would always go back on the archives, and it was just
it still happens now.
I know, but particularly like mid 2000s, there was a lot of tweed about.
Yes.
And I made myself this pink tweed jacket that I loved. And
I was
running around Goulburn dressed like an old lady, but like...
Oh, that's cute. But you would have got away with it.
None of it was actually Chanel, obviously.
No.
Most of it was handmade. Some of it was op shop. Some of it was mum's old stuff. But I just liked...
We could come up with that. I'm gonna give you a Chanel challenge then.
Let's do a few different designers because yeah, you can have Gucci. Let's do that now.
Let's do it. Do we want to wrap up? And then...
I thought I was coming up with one cohesive topic, but it turns out there was two topics in the shopping bans and the wardrobe challenges.
Yeah.
I think they're both worth trying, but just don't be too strict.
Yeah.
And do it with the goal of having fun and getting to know your wardrobe more. And I think that the thing that you're aiming for, which is to buy less, will follow naturally.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that should be the rule. I think you set yourself different rules that will eventually result in you buying less. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Well, thanks for joining us. And
we won't be back next week because Joe's away. But that gives us a bit of extra time, so we'd love to know what you would like to hear. Like,
yeah.
Why don't you pick our next topic?
Yeah, you pick our next topic. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Have a think about what you'd like us to talk about. Fashion related. Doesn't have to be about sustainable fashion. Doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It's
and if it's like me this week, you just come up with a topic that enables you to talk about yourself. Go
ahead.
Go for it. Like, tell us the topic and then tell us your thoughts. See you soon.
See ya.